Hello, and a very warm welcome to No One Gets Out of Here Alive. My name is Holly Leon Hawke, and I will be taking you on a gentle, sometimes humorous, and sometimes challenging meander through the myths, beliefs, and ideas around all things end of and after life to help give you a more holistic, rounded view. It just may be a few new possibilities of how the inevitable can be approached, because remember, no one, not even you, gets out of here alive. So we'll go back step by step. So in the ambulance and your moment with God, and you say you can't explain it, but I'm going to, and I know many of these things you need to put into words, it's almost impossible, isn't it? Because it's a knowing and a feeling. But if you can, what happened? What happened?
It was like, okay. I mean, for me, the way I can remember right now is in that ambulance going, okay, I know I made an agreement to come back in.
Yes.
We have this pact, right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to do this, but I need my legs to do it. Is
Yeah.
there any, I mean, I felt very strongly that sports was going to be my ticket to be able to bring my message clear. Well, as it turned out, it actually has been, but at first, they never thought I'd walk again or anything like that. Yeah. I was a football and baseball scholarship athlete, and I changed to tennis to start rehabilitating myself. And then I get very passionate about it, and I got stronger and stronger in it. And one thing, led to another, that I got to travel the whole world on the pro tennis tour. But I learned a lot through that whole experience. And now where I'm at in life, all that experience have paid big dividends in helping me help others. But
did you, in that moment, in the ambulance, did you feel anything from, or was it just this almost like this desperate prayer of?
It's how I talk to Jesus every day.
Yeah.
And God, however you want, because it also opened my expansion of faith. I much more see at the core of all faith is love. And then when we try to separate and say, oh, no, I'm the only one that has it right, and if you do it this way, then, that separates us rather than unite us. To me, that's not the plan. So I do the process, and I can, it's not like I hear a voice, but the thoughts come so pure, I can write what I'm hearing, and I write it out, and I'm actually amazed at it. Sometimes it's words I'll never use, but it's like, oh my gosh, this is, so it's the same communication I still have today, but I go through that process to put myself in the place where I can get rid of all my noise going on in my head, and I just connect. And I do it in nature, because nature, when I was above my body, nature took on the whole different aspect of my life. And I feel that presence.
So how far above your body were you?
I was above the trees.
Yeah.
I know that. And these are pretty high, tall trees. So I don't know. I wasn't that far above them.
Right.
Actually, I was kind of like right at the top of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, man, I'm not a good, maybe 100 feet.
Yeah. And were you aware of a form? Did you have a form, or were you just pure awareness?
I don't have any remembrance of any kind of form.
No.
I was in I call it now just a divine white light, and the only forms that I saw were the trees taking on a life form that I had never experienced before.
And you've been able, and through this process, you can connect at that same level with nature.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how I write my books. It's how the songs that I've written have come through divinely. My wife, who obviously I've taught to, and she can write brilliantly, and she's an amazing author, amazing. But when it comes to serious stuff, she goes, Dave, you need to write on this. I go, well, you can do it. She just knows that it goes to a whole nother level or whatever. But I think, so many people I've taught how to do this, their whole lives change for the better. It's incredible. When we have this GPS or guiding system in us, that we learn how to use it. And most people aren't. And a lot of people, like myself included, afraid of it. I mean, the first time it happened years later after the accident, when I started really tapping in and doing this writing, I threw the pen and I threw the paper going, wait a minute, this is going way too far. But my wife actually really encouraged me. And I said, all right, I'll continue doing it. And then that's how the first book was written, because then when I had this moment with my son, and, you know, he's alive today, he's a true life miracle, and he's a chapter in the book, I felt I have to share this information. And then Hollywood, then a producer had read the book, loved the book, and said, okay, contacted me, and they wanted to make it into a TV special. So they did. And the show was called The Evidence, meaning that does God create still miracles today?
Yeah.
The truth is yes. Why would, what? You think God's just asleep now?
Yes.
He's on vacation.
It all happened.
It only happened 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Let's just leave it there.
And do you know, so I have been doing your process for, I don't know, whenever I got it for the last few, week or so. But I tell you what, I had a real resistance to doing the writing. And I don't know why that was. But I thought, I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it. And do you know, it was the most amazing thing, because again, it's not what I would have written. So it's been quite a full week. And I've got my sheet here.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
It's literally says, what first came out was slow and steady wins the race. There is nothing to win, only someone to become. Peace unto you. May every cell in your body radiate with love. And then I started writing really fast again. So then it was like, no, write really slowly. So then I went into slow.
That's wonderful. What you just wrote is the same voice I listen to. I can tell, there's a rhythm to it. And you just wrote it. I was doing a whole big group session one time, and it was like a 3-day retreat. And so I had a group, and this one guy goes, I'm not good for this group. I said, why? Just because I'm not creative. All these people are creative. I said, well, why aren't you creative? And it really is just about judgment. And so when she told me, she says, well, I live on a farm. And when I did your process, when we do this process, I kept seeing my barn burning. So I would stop and it would freak me out. I said, well, would you be willing to step through the flames? And she goes, I don't know. So anyway, she said, I'll try. She did it. She stepped through the flames, and all of a sudden she saw this rebirth of everything, and everything was growing greener and better than ever before. And she wrote one of the most magnificent pieces. And I'm going, oh, so you're not creative. but judgment of ourselves, stop us from that greater source that we have. So that's why when I guide through the process, I have that happen many times where people are like, when you're really tapping in, it's a little bit freaky at first. Yeah. Yes. And then, well, what am I writing? I don't even know what I'm writing. I don't know. And then it's just like, then you finally see slow and steady, whatever. Boom. Now it's like you've got into that, call it the flow or the zone of that connection. And now it's just amazing what comes out. I've written things that just blow my mind.
Really? Oh, and yeah. Are you going to publish them?
That was the question I got asked on the last, and I, maybe someday. I got a couple more books coming out right now that deal with that. But, my wife wrote a book called In the Wake of Chaos, and it's amazing.
Is it?
It's on Amazon. And her author name is Delana Lane. She doesn't go under, that's her pen name, Delana Lane. And so In the Wake of Chaos, a lot of my writings are in that book, because this gal is exploring and finding. She's in the wake of chaos. Over here, there was very turbulent. It still is right now in our politics. And this young gal was very distraught when Trump became president. And so she was a Washington Post dream job, reporter, but she just got so caught up in the chaos that Trump was creating, that she left and went to Walden Pond, where Thoreau did, of course, we've traveled all these places, and then finds her peace. And it's a really beautiful journey. And then goes to these caves in Israel and finds the lost scrolls. And it's an exciting story in how you venture through life to where you don't give anybody that kind of power over you. You have the power within you, but she found a way of writing. So I say to my wife sometimes, so I'm kind of Delane Elaine too, because a lot of those writings came right from my writing. So I guess Delane Elaine, I'm a part of that. But my wife together so brilliantly. I mean, brilliantly. It's really amazing.
Is it? I will buy that. I have bought, I've managed to find the Unfinished Cross. I'm waiting for it. I think it's coming from across the pond, so it hasn't arrived yet. I had hoped it would be with me by now.
Do me a favor when if you get it, I just know when the new one comes out, you're going to want to get that one too.
Okay.
Because I got into that trance or whatever. I finally talked about the accident and everything. I kept that out of the book, even though I had this connection. I just wasn't at that time ready to share that part of me. And it's a pretty big part of sharing, going, Jesus, you'll see, I'm here, go ahead. And it was just dialogue. But recently I read it again, when I say recently, this last year, when I decided to write and bring it out again with what's happened in my life the last 20 years, I read it and I went, wow. I'm reading this stuff like, oh my gosh. See, when I wrote it, it freaked me out. Because it was like, oh my gosh, this is new stuff to me. Where's this? Now I read it and I go, oh, gee, I live my life every day like that now. Didn't know that it had such a big influence on me.
Yeah, amazing. I will definitely get it. Something I do want to touch on, because it's actually really close to my heart. So I don't know if you're aware of what I do, but I look after people's bodies once they've left them, and I support families, through with themselves, their family members and their pets as well, when they're moving from this round to the next.
That's awesome.
So something that I do, and I think it's kind of automatic. I feel like I kind of make it up, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels very from the heart. But being very aware of the person who has died, or the animal who has died, visualizing them going into the light as well. Now, I know that there is a name for it called psychopomp work. I don't know if you've come across that word before, but you have this amazing ability, don't you, where you help to guide souls, people who have left their bodies into the light. If you feel comfortable, would you be able to share some just a bit more about it, really?
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. And again, I don't know if I've really talked about it publicly. Maybe I did a little bit. I must have.
Tiny bits, yes.
But I found that, so there's a lot of, trying to think how it all kind of started. One was, I had a friend that was very in tune, right? But he was so caught up because he had lost souls constantly attaching them. And I said, look, you have the ability to just surround yourself in a divine white light. So when they come, they step into the light or they leave. And so many times, I found, and it's a struggle, just even 2 weeks ago, a gal that I coach, her husband actually committed suicide. And I've never had such a hard, it was really challenging to get him to step into the light because he was angry. Yeah. Very angry. And so, he was like, F that, I can't, I was just in the middle of the night. I'm just having this moment in quiet with him. And finally, after about 48 hours, I finally convinced him to step into the light. Some will just run from the light because they're afraid of the light. But the moment he stepped in was such a beautiful gift. And actually, without telling his wife what I've done, she's just had told me, she says, God, I just feel so much love coming from Rick. And she hadn't at all, but he shifted completely into that love and then felt remorse, but of leaving the way he did. He shot himself in front of his wife and his 3 kids.
Oh gosh.
Pretty challenging stuff.
Oh,
yeah, it's horrible. But he had me now working with the boys.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not really my specialty. So what I decided, I get directed how to do it. Yeah. They love sports. They love different things. So I'm just working with them, helping them perform and whatever they do at the best, because that's what Rick would want.
Yeah.
Them to just move forward and be the best in whatever they do. So I don't go back and try to regress. I know they have grief. They're going to have to live the way they have, through grief. But I'm about lifting them into a focus to go out there and be the best in what I do. And they're really responding well to it.
Are they? That's wonderful to hear. And that you said the word lifting, which is just beautiful, because that's what it is about, isn't it? I think people who especially leave in that way, the remorse can be huge, and the feeling that those who are left behind just let their lives go because the grief's insurmountable, which is not what they would want, anyone wants. But in order to reach up and into the light themselves, isn't it? This is and it's one of the hardest things, one of the hardest life journeys, I think, for anyone. What would you say to? Because, interesting, you talk about the light and the dark, and I think some people can get a bit fearful of that, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was talking about. The gentleman, he was so fearful of it. And I just got into my place to go, oh, well, wait a minute. If I surround myself in the divine white light, no dark soul. If a dark soul wants to come in, hey, come on in. But they're reborn into the light. There can't be darkness in the light. So I circled my house. I circled each of my family members all the time. I circled me with the divine white light, because I am open to souls coming in. But if they're going to come in, they got to be willing to come into the light. If not, they just go, I don't want to even be there. I'm out of here.
So my father has been an addict since he was, teenager. And he has had opportunities to step into the light again and again and again. He's still alive. But he has turned away. He's turned away because he's feared vulnerability. He's trust issues, all of these. So we whether we're in the other realm or this realm, we're still choosing between the light and the heavy, the dark, aren't we? Absolutely. Yeah. So for people who so obviously, I work a lot with families who've lost very precious people. You know that our soul doesn't end once we've left our bodies. So, which is such an important message, because I feel that's one of our real problems in our age at the moment, because people are they don't like the dogma of religion. They're beginning to find spirituality, but there's a real, and so we're a disconnect from who we truly are.
It's so true. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about at the core, it's love. You know, some people say, well, what's your faith? I said, well, I'm in the intersection of all faith. Even though I came up as a very fun, my dad, a Christian minister, chaplain, well-known. So I have those basic foundation, but when you start saying, no, I've got it right and you don't, I'm going, no, that's not who we're meant to be. There's beauty in all faith at the core. At the core, it's actually all the same at the core. If you study it, it's like, oh, Buddha, you can, I was at a hotel one night, Kath and they had, it was Virgin Hotel, and they had the Buddha Bible, right? Oh, now this is interesting. I start reading it. It's no different than our Bible, it's like, and I spoke in Uzbekistan, and they took us to Samarkand, which is a very holy place for Muslim. I saw a whole new experience of who Muslims were, because over here in America, we think, oh, they're terrorists. They're not. Now, there's degrees of, just like there's Christians who kill in the name of God, that kind of thing. So it happens in every faith. I just find myself to feel the love and the purity of God. And for me, because I was brought up, it's who I communicate with is Jesus, but it's a whole different kind of openness to who Jesus is. When you read the Unfinished Cross, you're going to find that he asked me to read the Bible with him, but through his voice rather than some of the ways that it was written. That made that book, when it first came out, as like the Christians just this is terrible. This is, but yet open, like new thought, faith. That's why it became a bestseller. 20 years later, now Christians love it. So wait a minute. You didn't like this book 20 years ago, but now it makes sense.
Yeah. Takes time for people, doesn't it? It's slow and steady wins the race. Pardon? Sorry.
I wrote the book and it freaked me out.
Yes. Oh, Dave, I think we're probably coming up to the end again, because I can see we've got remaining time, which is probably just as well, because I would keep you all day. I really, really want to thank you beyond words for gracing us all with your presence here today, because the work you do is so inspiring and uplifting. And if there's one thing you would leave, does anything come to mind to leave on for a message of hope, I suppose, for people who've lost a pet or a human?
It's always challenging. I don't care. When I lost my mom, lost my dad, lost my dog, I've had, it's just realize it's going to be challenging. Yeah. Don't try to stuff the challenge. Don't try to stuff the grief. Feel it, but then as you feel it, start letting love kind of come over you. And in that love, all of a sudden, the beauty and the gratitude of that you had this experience, and you can still go forward with, it's a different experience, but if you allow it, you can have that experience. I have one gal that I'm coaching. She lost her husband 5 years ago. She has been in such misery for 5 years, and she met me and decided to hire me because she was trying to figure out how is she going to even make a living. She now is doing amazing. I mean, her business has gone skyrocketing, but more important than her business, she has felt the love of her husband with her every step. And she was denying that. Yeah. And because she didn't know it was even possible. I just opened a pathway for her to experience it. And so that just opened a door for her. And it's amazing who she is today and the things that she's doing. Very successful in business, but it comes from a place of such a pure heart. Now that she's in partnership with her husband who passed, where before it was just grief. Yeah, that's beautiful. Do you know, I've got a nurture day coming up with, it's a pilot I'm going to be doing with a few people I've supported, and I am going to be doing your 5-step process with them as part of I think it could be such a beautiful gift for them, and they can go away and then do it themselves, can't they? Yeah, so, that's wonderful. For me, how did it come? I just asked God. I said, God, give me something more today that will impact my life. How can I really tap in and help others tap in? Because they don't have to go through a car accident like I did. Right? and it's just like I take it down. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try it first. I'll do it for 40 days because, in the Bible, everything's 40, right? And at the end of 40 days, my life was different. I'm not saying that I had life before, but my wife's going, are you going to quit now? Let's keep this going. Yes. It was many, many years ago. So we've done, many 40s. Marvelous. That's just lovely. You're an amazing man. To pass on, it's up to you. If you want me to give you my email to pass it on, if someone, like you did, you asked for the process, I'm happy to give it. It's just in a PDF form that you can follow. I have to give my wife a lot of credit because she's the one that put the beautiful piece together. Oh, bless her. And, I'm happy to give that. And I will send you moonshots.
Please, I can't wait. And if people want to follow you, what's the best way of following you? Because
Well,
you're
my
quite elusive at the moment, aren't you?
elusive, very elusive.
Yeah, because you're so busy.
So my company's called Extreme Focus.
Yeah,
You can go to my webpage, Extreme Focus, and
yeah,
then my Facebook is Dave Austin, and
yeah.
there's a picture of me with a ball player. There's a Dave Austin public figure, which is still me, but I never ever go there. My personal one, I use it Facebook more for my scrapbook, basically, of life, doing this, doing that. And then if I have something like a book launch, I'll mention it there. I don't do a lot. I probably should do more, on the line stuff, but word of mouth just gets around on me. So I kind of live in that world. But now that this docuseries is coming out, it's probably going to change.
I think it will. I think it will. It's so exciting. So, bless your heart. Thank you so, so much. And have a beautiful rest of the day, won't you?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dave. You're free.
No, it's all good. It's good. It's all good. I meant to share this stuff more today. You wouldn't have reached out to me. You have an inner knowing that, this is important. Part of what I have to be willing to share now.
Yeah. Bless you. Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that's all for now. And I would like to say a very big thank you for being brave enough to dare to listen to a podcast that talks about something we as a nation tend to prefer. Doesn't exist, doesn't apply to our lives. But no, it does. No one gets out of here alive. And being more aware and engaged helps us all to have a more positive experience when the time does come to either us or our family, friends and pets. If you'd like to subscribe, please visit www.hollyleonhawk.com.